side, Trick and Lopes loving what I'm seeing from the Jake the Dog. Those GC down zigs, I was seeing him land quite a few of those. So I'm interested to see how it goes here in the loser side of things.
Now, Trick did officially name himself the meanest Jake in town, and I'm kind of surprised we aren't seeing... I don't know the town where he lives. I'm not going to dox him. That's just weird. Lopes used to play a double core when he played with Power Ranger, so I'm a little bit surprised we haven't also seen that double core come out here. Oh my gosh, we might see it come out if this Bryn keeps getting taken out that quickly. Lopes already falling here.
Yeah, Bryn not exactly a tank, but she's definitely not on the squishy side of things. I think coming in around 6 defense, and it's just the double axe hitting so incredibly hard. That was an axe recovery coming out from the base 8 strength Taros that led to the first knockout, but a nice sidelight side air is going to keep that stock count even.
Health is pretty close to even as well. Lopes is the one most damage on the second stock. Might be getting the KO onto Trick here. That was an orange KO. Great spot for the blue team. Even if Hyper falls here, still definitely in the lead. Hyper is kind of playing in the middle of the stage, has the Lance, has the Ulgrim. Going for those reverse nairs, that's really not going to be a grounded hitting option anymore. Is going to fall, but still, blue team definitely in the lead. 1v2 situation, not a lot of damage comes out, even a little bit of team damage coming out. So Stardeath was able to survive that very well, even got a couple hits off. Now some team damage coming from the blue team, but Hyper swinging on the reds here. Lopes very damaged, Stardeath very damaged, Trick very damaged, Decent coming out. That's a whole lot of damage racked up.
Now, going back to that 2v1 though, we did see Lopes and Trick trying to start something. Not sure if they have a 2v1 combo in mind, but that weapon toss, Lopes barely enough in the tank to get that wall touch. And you see them sitting on the soft platform, know that they're on the back foot, and they want to make that blue team make the approach ground pound, but it sends Hyper up the weapon toss. Lopes still touches, extending this stock. This is what I was talking about, Bao. Not being exactly squishy. Neutral Sig, and the red team gets the advantage.
D-Sig comes out, and we're back to even. Trick going for a gravity cancel neutral Sig all the way at the top of the map. Friendly fire coming out from that hammer there. Hyper has Lopes over on the edge. Trick without a weapon. Could lose the stock. The backside of the recovery sends off the bottom right. And we're going to be at a blue team lead yet again. We'll see what Hyper can do with this stock. Throwing his weapon away, is able to pick it back up, but takes a break dance. That down heavy from Trick is going to be the KO option. They're going deep with that reverse slide charge neutral signature. Hoping to make a big play there. All of a sudden, this is starting to lean towards the red team. We're seeing Stardeath very damaged. Falling with that dare, going for the side signature. Has to be careful on those long-lasting signatures. Could be taking some serious punishment, maybe leading into a KO. Nice D-Sig there, not enough to KO off the top. A little bit surprised on that one. Lopes without a weapon. Trick has gauntlets in his hands.
Yeah, but Lopes being so incredibly damaged. Again, you saw that down sig launch Lopes so incredibly far. Basically makes Lopes mentally out of the game, right? Like Lopes is just sitting on the back. You saw him sitting on the wall, basically going to just sit this one out, wait for those opportunities for the hyper safe options so that they can get these knockouts. A lot of people in the red though could see a knockout soon. Not quite enough to take out Lopes.
Trick doing his best to lead the charge against the blue team. Both players definitely damaged. Nair is going to KO off the top. It's now a 1v2. Lopes very damaged, going under the stage, getting away. Trick hit a down air, scooping up above, hit a Nair as well. Side air comes out from Hyper. Neutral light from Lopes, cleans it up with the weapon toss. Red team takes game one, but man, that was back and forth.
Looking at these damage numbers though, 672 put out from Lopes. I didn't quite catch how much Lopes was taking, but I mean, the stock extension, that second and third stock from Lopes lasted an eternity, and that was one of the big reasons why they were able to stay inside of that, let Trick start to play that out, start to rack up those damage, and ultimately led to the W for game number one.
3 maps left on the board, going to be Mammoth Fortress, Shipwreck, and Miami Dome. We have one tiny walled map, one main soft platform map where the soft platform does not move, and then one with a moving soft platform. So a lot of variation in these 3 stages that are left on the board here. And we also see a character swap over to Thor from Stardeath.
Yeah, that was interesting. The way that it was swinging slowly in favor of the blue team, I was half expecting the red team to be forced to switch to like more axes, right? Maybe see something European with a 4-axe game, but instead looks like they're going to be bringing out the hammer. We've got an axe and a hammer on each side.
Couple other Thors today, looking at the Gabriel Thor play, looking at the DB Thor play. Now we have yet another Thor today, more than we saw last weekend. If I'm just eyeballing the amount of Thors that we've seen today. Game is starting here. Stardeath already throwing his weapon away, kind of doing nothing right now. Didn't want to engage when he had the weapon disadvantage. Grabs the orb as it spawns back in.
Yeah, very directly saying that Stardeath wanted that orb in hand. Gets the side light, but the team damage is actually going to deny the opportunity for the side light side air. Wouldn't have quite knocked out. No one quite in the red. Hyper in a real bad spot and can't get the wall touch. And no trade out from Stardeath means that the red team going to have an advantage.
There was no one down there to really save him. He got kind of caught under the stage, at least positionally. He didn't bonk his head or anything, but was stuck under the stage for a little bit of time. That is not the strongest way to start this game, but you're seeing the damage. Blue is racking up on red. You're seeing a lot of damage. Side stick comes out. It's going to be on his teammate. The second swing of that is going to hit, not KO. That D-Sig is going to KO. I don't know the last time I saw that signature KO someone in Brawlhalla.
Yo, it can be tricky, especially because, again, it's one of those chainsaw moves where you can hold the charge and just keep it going. But Stardeath actually kind of locked Lopes into that with that side air. Stock count was even for a brief moment, but the neutral signature and now the side light side air. Hyper really on the back foot, needs to extend this stock in order to keep the blue team alive.
That was so fast that he went from orange to red. And he's without a weapon here. Stardeath, the only one with a weapon, misses the sidelight Sarah when he picked up the GC sidelight. Weapon spawn on the field. Hyper's able to go grab it. We're starting to see Trick and Lopes kind of controlling things here. Trick looking for these ground pounds over on the edge. Starts it off with a weapon toss. Goes with another one. That burned the dodge. Backside of that recovery ended up hitting Trick. Grabbing his recovery. Stardeath and Lopes, meanwhile, going at it on the other side. Blue team gets back to the main stage. Sort of has control of this center stage. Now it's kind of transferred over to the red team. Oh, the side signature. Final swing of that. Gets the KO. 4 stocks to 3.
A little bit of matchup knowledge there with Hyper not recognizing the active frames of that side sig. Started to move back into it, and then end up getting himself caught. But this is still looking pretty close. If Stardeath gets a hammer, can get the stomp for the knockout. Just needs a raw down heavy. No recovery connection from Hyper, but the stock count is in fact even. In fact, I think it leans a little bit towards the blue team with how much health is left on Stardeath.
Stardeath did just turn red. The signature coming out from Trick, almost getting the KO. You saw him gliding across the stage over with that down signature. He loves that one. He specifically mentioned that on the survey when he said the meanest Jake in town, in parentheses, hammer D-Sig. I don't think core players are really using it that much.
Yeah, it tends to come out as like almost a meme option, right? Like they just do it because it looks cool, but Trick really using it to great effect. Lots of movement inside of it, so you'll see it sometimes as like a GC off stage to get back. Lopes gonna just take out the teammate. Now everybody in final stocks, but again, Hyper just a little bit more damage than everybody else.
Now he has used it gravity canceled several times. If you use it on the wall and actually pick up your opponent, the signature will drop. If you're rolling them into the wall, you won't get that final big hit. We have Hyper taken out of the game. You see red team setting up for the 2v1 combo.
No 2v1 with the hammer. Ooh, nice pickup recovery. Lopes looking for the egg drop. Stardeath still unarmed on the right side. Makes this really hard to play this out. Has to rotate over to the left side. Does get the wall touch, but the down sig immediately launches him off the stage.
Oh no, Trick ended up getting caught in that. Really wanted to get back to the main platform, even going through that down signature that kind of sucked him up like a vacuum, but they got the KO off of it. And again, look at that big damage number, 607 coming out from Lopes.
Yeah, on the other side, Stardeath putting out 517, so not too terribly bad, but really it's Hyper who was just kind of getting taken out too early. Only did 30 less damage than the Jake did, but it was just the fact that he was like constantly on the back foot, couldn't even really triage. There was the offstage engagement against Trick that was looking pretty good because it let Stardeath do the 1v1, but even at the end of it, it was still Hyper who got knocked out first.
So Trick in-game chat did indicate that I think he heard what I was saying just a little bit ago, either about the meanest Jake in town or the D-Sig, which means he is playing the game with the tournament stream on, which means, of course, he hears commentary, but he also hears the noises of the game completely delayed from the game that he's playing, which is just absolutely insane. Trick is a madman.
Oh, snap. Hyper's in trouble, though. Right side, the side sig did launch, and it's so crazy. Hyper went from a relatively high defense character with the Ulgrim down to an even lower defense, just wants the movement speed to hopefully rotate and just play that backline. But like you were saying, it's kind of wild that Trick is like, I'm going to hear my teammates callouts, but also hear the commentary and all of the game audios.
Now, we are seeing Hyper kind of doing similar things to what we saw at the beginning of last game. Like, this game, he took a lot of damage, and he wasn't really doing a lot for the beginning yet, again, because he's so worried about being taken out. So his, like, you see him over on the right side, far away from everyone, found a neutral light. They did find a KO off of it. Oh, almost found that ground pound on a Hyper that would have certainly led to a KO. D-Sig takes out Hyper, red team in the lead. D-Light pulls out of that, ends up hitting the recovery onto Stardeath. I'm glad he didn't keep going with that, put out even more damage onto Trick.
That was such a tricky option on both sides, right? Like, Stardeath dodged down, went immediately for the N-Sig, which would have been a punish if Lopes hadn't gone for the second down light. Ended up hitting his teammate, got out of it, and then fast fell into the recovery. Stock advantage now to the red team, and again, Trick throwing out those hammered down sigs. The unarmed recovery is going to even up the stock count.
Now, on the Friday dev streams, you teach Remix how to play the game, who is the audio director, I believe, for Brawlhalla. On Friday, tell him I hate that noise for the hammer down signature. I absolutely hate it. It makes my skin crawl every time.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. The rubbery sounds can definitely play out, but you see the pogo on the right side. Hyper again in trouble. Lopes going low, throws out the down sig, locks him in place for the punish, but the weapon toss had all of that time to accelerate towards Hyper's head to get the stock.
Lopes is so damaged, that's definitely going to KO off the top, even if Hyper had literally zero strength. Yo, that ended up hitting, possibly saving his teammate, at least keeping him over on the wall after Trick hit the unarmed recovery. GC down heavy, another save. Strange saves coming out here this time. Oh, gravity cancel neutral signature, taking Stardeath off the top. This is looking a little bit rough for the blue team if Hyper continues to take damage, having to play the 1v2 now for just a moment as Stardeath spawns back in. Goes for the side light, that hits, doesn't find the follow-up, gets the follow-up off of Hyper.
Hyper tried to back out, downlighted his teammate, but it was a perfect setup for Lopes to get the downlight side air. Finally, they'll even up the stock count on Trick, but blue team is behind, and Hyper running out of jumps. Can't get the touch. Stardeath didn't even try to scoop. Oh no, this is looking dire for the blue team.
I think Stardeath was just completely confused on what to do there. He was stuck in between two decisions because you saw Lopes immediately back up. And so Stardeath had to choose whether to help his teammate there or whether to go in on Lopes and try and find that KO. The D-Sig is going to clean that one up. You hear all those noises in the background. Man, Lopes is a damage king today, this time putting out 692, picking up every single KO in the game as well for the red team.
That's what I'm used to seeing from a strong 2v2 Bryn is high damage numbers. That high movement speed coupled with an axe helps them get into position more frequently to put out more damage, and you'll love to see it. Trick and Lopes going to win it out 3-0 over Hyper and Stardeath. But Hyper and Stardeath, they were looking really, really good. I like what I'm seeing from them. It still feels like a